Hey, this is Ron again, and I can't believe I'm testing this Vespa because it's 60 years almost to the day since I first got my license. I've had tons of motorcycles, never had a scooter, always thought about it, mostly as a second bike or a third bike. And my friend got one here as a second bike, and I had quite a nice little ride on it. And I'm not going to go over the technical details. As I've said before, I don't try to do that. There's so many videos out there that tell you all the little details. I'm just going to tell you what it's like to ride it and live with it for a little bit. So I purposely left the seat up and this little cover off to show you how the motor is. It's kind of amazing. It's just lying down in there. Twin shocks back there. And normally, of course, there's a little cover that fits in here. I'll just put this down here. And the cover is there that shows the space. You can't get a full face helmet in there. I suppose you probably could get a half helmet in. Anyway, so one of the things that drove me crazy about this is they've gone to this new keyless system. And I got to tell you, this is really complicated. I have a feeling a lot of it has to do with anti-theft. But instead of being able to start it just standing here and going over and doing it, you've got to hold it up in here. And then it's gonna be interesting to see if I remember how to do this. You push the key in, there it goes, I think, to the on position. And it's saying welcome, and it's going through. You can turn the ignition knob. Ignition knob. I think that's it, isn't it? Well, oh, it said goodbye. You know what? I think I'm just gonna, here it goes, I think. This is kind of unnecessary, really. The whole idea of a Vespa is, why not have a key? You have to hold the brake lever in. And I'm still doing something wrong. Oh well, anyway, there's the dashboard with all kinds of goodies. It's so quiet that even if I start it up, you're really not gonna hear it. I'll have to figure this out afterwards. But yeah, why, come on, why do all this? This is just way too much. And the dashboard actually has a lot of information, and you can scroll through different things. And it does have ABS, by the way, and it has traction control. I'm not sure about all that, but you know, it's nice. And the fit and finish is absolutely gorgeous. I don't know if you can tell from the pictures, but this red is really like a Ferrari red. Just a beautiful, beautiful paint job. Metal. Really kind of old school, other than all this stuff. And as far as riding it, you know, I've never really ridden the scooter more than a mile or two. And I got to ride it on some twisty roads, and I was kind of shocked. We really kind of kept up a pretty good pace. It's just so light and agile. And I'm going to take it off the center stand. It's on the center stand. And you can just it's kind of amazing. I'm used to center stands where you have to really work. This is kind of like nothing. It does have a side stand, which will shut the motor off, by the way, if you put it out. The front end is like really light. When you're riding, at first I went, wow, this is kind of twitchy. You kind of want to wanders around a little bit. But then after a while you get used to it. And the center of gravity is so low that when you're sitting on it, when you roll it back out of a parking lot, there's just nothing to it. It just feels like you could take it over as far as you want to, and nothing's going to happen. And that's kind of how it feels on the road. I think with the engine back here and the way you sit, it's putting a lot of weight on the rear wheel, and it keeps the front wheel light. So the one thing I noticed is, and I like naked bikes, the way this is set up, you're really getting not only a wind blast, you're getting pushed back. So my friend's going to get a little small shield, and I think that'll be enough just to take the pressure off your chest. And I found that, never having ridden a scooter before, that I was kind of sitting too far forward, like I am now. And it was kind of starting to bother my back a little bit. And then when I moved back, suddenly it was more comfortable. I think sitting back here with the shield on, it's going to be very comfortable. And I kind of yearn for being able to put my foot out somewhere here. I'm not a big fan of highway pegs, but in this case it might be kind of fun. It's too bad the passenger pegs are a little further forward and down, because yes, I can put my feet up there just for something different to do, but if it was a couple of inches forward and a couple of inches down, it would actually make for a pretty comfortable little spot. The other thing you have to get used to is it's really kind of coming from a motorcycle. it's really kind of hard to remember kind of where to put your feet. And I found myself putting my feet like that when actually it was more comfortable to kind of get it up in here. And my friend is going to put some kind of, they have these little mat-like things to protect the paint. You could probably put even the clear coating, but something down there so you don't feel as hesitant, I guess is the right word, to put your feet up here where you're touching paint. But yeah, after a while you do get used to it. It took me a good 10 miles. So now the motor, without going into details, I think it's just under 300 cc's. I think it's around 28 point something horsepower. I said I wasn't going to give any specs, but it rolls on so easily and so quiet that you don't even really feel the speed. My friend rode my bike and he commented that I took off and just started going. And I have to say, I've been on a lot of bikes where I was very hesitant to really get going on it. And we were going through the curves pretty good. Some nice sweeping curves, some real tight curves, a few straights. I think I only got it up close to 70, and not on the freeway, but on a surface street. And it felt surprisingly good. It didn't feel like it had a lot more. From what I understand, the top speed's probably about 80, depending on your weight and whether you're going to tuck in or just sit bolt upright. But this is not something I would ever have as a freeway bike. I'm sure people do commute on them and run them 70 miles an hour down the freeway, which in California is kind of almost a little too slow. But it really is just a wonderful city bike. And people buy second bikes and third bikes and fourth bikes, which I have, that are all kind of similar. And you walk out to the garage and you go, well, what bike am I going to take? And usually there's one that you never take that just sits there. I really think it's a great idea to find bikes that are really different from everything you have. So my friend has a V4 Ducati and this. Talk about an Italian collection. And it's kind of neat that you have a big, powerful, long distance bike, and then when you want to go roam around town or run down to the beach or pick up a few things at the store, you take this, and it's just so easy to get on and off. You know, you put your feet up through here, and you don't have to swing your leg up and over. It's really quite an interesting experience, and I'm glad I got a chance to ride this, because I've just never had a real chance to put some miles on one of these. And of course, this is as good as it gets. I remember riding the 150 about 15 years ago, and I rode a Honda 150. It wasn't just the power either. Both of them, I thought the suspension wasn't real great. The suspension on this is really pretty nice. A little firm in the front, a little soft in the back, but it kind of floats over everything. We took some really bumpy roads where a lot of bikes kind of get really disturbed, and it kind of handled it very well. And I think once you put 20, 30 miles on it, you get used to the whole experience, and it's just more fun than I've had on anything with two wheels lately. I have an electric bicycle too, and it's kind of like halfway between an electric bicycle and a motorcycle. And yeah, I'm glad my friend got this, because it gives me a chance to ride it, and his experience has been really good. And I wish they would do something about the key. I'm almost inclined to look for an older used one that has a regular key. It's got these weird storage areas too. It's got a little hook here for, I think this is for your helmet. Yeah, I think you can hook a helmet through here, or even have a little helmet lock and have the helmet sit down in here. Oh, I know what they do too. I've seen people that put little bags down in here. And of course, you people get front racks and back racks, and the headlight's pretty decent on high beam. I noticed when he had it on high beam, I could really see him in my mirrors really well. That in the red color, of course. But so here we are in Cielo with Italian coffee and Italian scooter. We just need his Italian bike here while we're at it. Looks like the suspension might almost be the same. Piaggio. And I think I know who would win the race. But anyway, in the rain and the cold, this might be more comfortable. But yeah, a second or third bike, or if you live in a city and you're just taking short little trips and you're just going down to the beach, hey, a scooter's great, and this is about as good as it gets as far as a scooter. Anyway, for something different for me, but thanks guys. This is Ron signing off.